Hello, friends. Welcome once again. I am Manish Maharshi, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Government Dunga College, Bikaner. We will resume the poem Andre del Sarto by Robert Browning. Robert Browning, as we have already discussed, is the major Victorian poet. In this dramatic monologue, Andre is speaking to his wife Lucrezia. She does not like Andre anymore and is not even interested in his art and paintings. Andre sees his life as a failure and his art of mediocre quality. He finds that there is something missing in his art, which is in the painting of others can be easily seen. He calls that missing element as divine light and divine grace. These artists who have this divine element in their painting seems vexed and unorganized on the surface, but their painting is of highest quality. Andre can paint a perfect painting as far as outward body is concerned. Thus he sees himself as failure. Andre tries to figure out the reason of his mediocre art, why he is not able to develop that quality in his art, and moving on various things and reasons which might be responsible for his missing element. At first, he says that it is God's wish that his art should be so, so let it be. Later, unexpectedly, he says that he is not concerned about the judgment others give about his painting. He is not bothered. He paints from himself and for himself. Soon he adds that perfection on earth is not necessary because something to be gained and achieve should be left for heaven. Otherwise, there is no hope for future and God. He says he knows what is missing in his art, but still he cannot get that his because his imaginative flight does not allow him to reach that heavenly abode. Thus, we see that Andre is trying to figure out what are the reasons, what are the faults, what are the things that are responsible for the kind of painting he is painting and the kind of life he is living with Lucrezia. His life is not is failure not only as an artist but also as a husband. He seems to be utterly failure. Now first I will read out the text we will discuss today, and then we will see what Andre is saying. Had I been to another and myself, our head would have overlooked the world. No doubt yonder's a work now of that famous youth, the Urbinate, who died 5 years ago. It's copied. George Vasari sent it me. Well, I can fancy how he did it all, pouring his soul with kings and popes to see, reaching that heaven might so replenish him. Above and through his art, for it gives way, that arm is wrongly put, and there again a fault to pardon in the drawing's lines. Its body, so to speak, its soul is right. He means right, that a child may understand. Still, what an arm! And I could alter it, but all the play, the insight, and the stretch, out of me, and wherefore out? Had you enjoined them on me, given me soul, we might have risen to Raphael, I and you. Now, in these lines, we see that Andre tries to seek some reasons which are responsible for his not attaining the height in his art. Andre is not ready to accept his weakness and his failure, but instead he looks on others for his mediocrity. He blames Lucrezia and her behavior as the reason for his failing. He says that had I been to another and myself, our head would have overlooked the world. He tries to find out some reason for his weakness. He says that if he had been married to someone else, other than Lucrezia, he, along with that wife, had overlooked the worldly concerns and concentrated on only his artistic pursuits. He wants to say that it was because of Lucrezia that his artistic interests suffered, as she always demanded some worldly materialistic things from him rather than transcending the worldly things and affairs. So he says her that our head would have overlooked the world. We do see physical action in dramatic monologue, and for example, Andre here in these lines says, "Yonder's a work now of that famous youth, the Urbinate, who died 5 years ago." Andre asks Lucrezia to notice a painting lying the other side in the room. He points out that that painting is by Raphael, who died 5 years ago, and in parenthesis he mentions that it is copied. George Vasari sent it me. George Vasari is the biographer of Andre del Sarto, and it is through his biography we come to know much about life and art of Andre. Raphael was from Urbino, an Italian city. Andre keeps on describing the painting and says that he can imagine how Raphael must have painted this picture filled with the divine grace and light. He must have been so overpowered with that divine inspiration that it became very difficult for him to put that perfectly into lines and colors. So there is faults in the lines of painting and the arm of the painting is wrongly drawn. Andre says that as far as body is concerned, arm is not correct. But when one considers the soul that Raphael has given to the painting, that is perfectly right, and that is real thing in art, and this is beyond the grasp of Andre. He can imagine all this how Raphael has done, but he himself cannot acquire that divine dream and imagination. He explains to Lucrezia that how before kings and popes Raphael had painted this painting. There was much praise and appreciation in the eyes of the kings and popes when Raphael painted this. Andre feels that when one paints a painting where soul is right, then the faults in the outward lines and colors do not matter at all. And most importantly, when Raphael wanted to show what Raphael wanted to show is perfect and right, and his painting could easily be understood even by small children. Now, even knowing all these things, Andre is not able to the overlook the arm of this painting. He says that still what an arm, and I could alter it. Psychologist says that we human beings tend to look more on the faults than on the right things, as it gives relief to our own ego. We find console in this act whether we do it consciously or unconsciously. Andre, perfectly knowing that the painting of Raphael is beyond his grasp, but still he finds something in that painting which he can correct and put to right. And this gives satisfaction to his ego. He finds that there is something in this painting which he can correct, so it pampers his soul. Very soon he realizes, or he already knows, that there is something which is beyond his insight and reach. He says himself, a fault to pardon in the drawing lines, its body, so to speak, its soul is right. He means right, that a child may understand. Andre is uneasy when he says that, but all the play, the insight, and the stretch out of me, and wherefore out? Because what is beyond his reach is even not able to, he is not even able to comprehend. Still, what an arm, and I could alter it, but all the play, the insight, and the stretch, out of me, and wherefore out. Andre, with the feeling of regret, says that if Lucrezia had been truly with him in his pursuit of art, he would have also been among the great artists like Raphael. He wishes that if Lucrezia had given him the soul, by which he means the inspiration and mindset, they would have together achieved the heights of the great art. In a subtle manner, he complains and blames Lucrezia for his failure, but soon says that she has given him everything, and even more than his merits and capabilities. Now, Andre oscillates between the two things. Sometimes he blames her, and in the very next moment, he starts praising her. And again, in the same manner, when he says, But this, he does not even finishes his statement, he starts blaming again. Now, in this statement, that she has given him all and everything, even more than his merits. He has not even finished, he comes back to his blame game. He says, But had you, oh, with the same perfect brow and perfect eyes and more than perfect mouth, and the low voice my soul hears, as a bird, the fowler's pipe and follows to the snare. Had you with these the same but brought a mind, some women do so. He feels that Lucrezia have a physical charm. He is very beautiful and attractive. She has perfect brow over her perfect eyes, and in hyperbolic terms, Andre says that Lucrezia has more than a perfect mouth, and her voice is also very alluring. With a simile, Andre explains how he was attracted towards her. He says that the bird catcher makes a whispering sound which attracts the birds, and these birds even risk the snares laid to catch them. So, in the same manner, Andre listens the charming and enigmatic voice of Lucrezia, and his soul is attracted to her. She laid the snare around him. And now he finds fault with the beauty of Lucrezia and says that her beauty is not perfect because she does not possess a beautiful mind which can inspire him for the great art. And he compares her to some other women, saying that some women have that kind of mind. He says that if she, along with this beautiful body, had also a beautiful mind, he would have also been standing with Raphael in the glory of great art. So, in the next video, we will continue with this poem and we'll see how Andre starts looking at other reasons responsible for his failure. Thank you.